Really an interesting take from a coach in one of these preseason magazines. Often they talk with assistant coaches about programs around the league, and this is what I think this was Athlon. Yes, it is Athlon, and this is the quote from an anonymous coach. It says they finally got over the hump and killed the narrative. Now what? Are they a one-off deal, or are they going to be the first SEC program that can really truly hang and bang with Alabama year in and year out? The expectations there aren't to win a one-off title and go back to 9 and 10 wins. I don't know who said that. It sounds like they kind of, a little snippy there. Georgia hasn't won 9 games in a season since 2016. What the hell are you talking about? I'm not sure that they've won um, fewer than 11 in any season that I can recall that wasn't the COVID season. So your envy is noted, whoever that was. But general point of the statement is correct. Are they going to be the team that hangs with Alabama and bangs with Alabama in the foreseeable future? It seems like the answer is yes, but LSU had a one-off national championship and really beat Alabama up that one season. I'm not sure you can compare Georgia and LSU to one another in this case because a lot, no, not all of them, but a lot of the LSU Alabama games of the last, since Kirby arrived, they've not been, coming out of the fourth quarter. This past year was 2021, which was a crazy moment. So I think it showed Alabama's susceptibility to losing was that LSU game in 2021 because that was not a good LSU team. I do think LSU will be back in the near future, but you know, Georgia is positioned correctly to fight Alabama. If there's been any team since Kirby's arrived at Georgia that's fought them, it's been the Dogs. I mean, Alabama has lost twice to Auburn in that time, but Auburn's not taken those losses and done anything with them. Georgia's the only team besides Alabama that's played in a national championship game twice in this league. Besides Alabama, they're the only team that has played in multiple SEC championship games in that time. If you want to talk about 16 and 20 with the Gators, you can, but from 17 on is really what I'm talking about. So it has been those two. The criticism that Georgia's not gotten it done is not unique to an assistant coach who is cloaked in anonymous talking. I don't have a problem with anonymous talking, don't get me wrong, but um, the 9 to 10 win dig, you probably want to look up Texas A&M for that deal, or I mean, I guess Texas A&M is more an 8 to 9 win. Georgia has been extremely successful under Kirby Smart in the win columns. So I don't know what that's about. Hey, listen, make sure you're picking up DAWGSTRUCTION. The link is down below. I've got a very big announcement coming on Sunday. Really big announcement coming on Sunday. Make sure you're tuning in. The link to DAWGSTRUCTION is down below. Just to review Kirby's time at Georgia: 8-5 in 2016, 13-2, 11-3, 12-2, 8-2 COVID. They played 10 games, and then 14-1. So, sometimes his assistants don't quite know what they're saying. Their heads in the ground a little bit, but you know, will Georgia be the team that challenges Alabama moving forward? It seems to me like they are. But I do think LSU with Brian Kelly is going to be a very solid team and difficult to deal with over time. They are LSU has the passion, the players, and I think they have their best coach that they've had and maybe in my lifetime there now. Brian Kelly did a lot with Notre Dame with handcuffs on, or some handcuffs on. And, they really fought Georgia in those games. They were not competitive with Alabama. I never thought they would be, but they have been a consistently good team with talent that's not been as good as everybody else. I mean, when they beat Clemson up there, they got blown out by Clemson in Charlotte in 2020. In 19, they really fought Georgia hard in Athens. In 18, when they didn't play Georgia, I think they went undefeated or had a loss or whatever. I can't remember. They got to the playoff, got their brains kicked in by Clemson. They were not. They should not have been in the playoff. Probably same thing with Oklahoma that year. But I think Brian Kelly will take LSU and make them a real problem again for Alabama. If you have functional coaching, LSU is a real problem. A real problem. Um, so this is not necessarily going to be about Georgia and Alabama exclusively in this league. If Billy Napier gets Florida's act together, and I'm not sure he will, um, then that means that would be another dynamic that you're entering into. We can't know what an SEC Oklahoma will look like. We can't know what an SEC Texas will look like. Um, Texas has not pulled its end of the bargain lately, but it is more complicated in the league now for Georgia, for Alabama, for everybody involved because you're probably going to go away from divisions sooner than later. You're probably going to have fewer, if any, undefeated regular seasons in the future with the SEC. I mean, we've seen three in a row actually. 19 it's four in a row. 18, 19, 20, and 21. We saw undefeated regular seasons in the league. I'm not sure we're going to see that a lot. We saw it in 16 too, so there's been a fair amount of it. But I think from now on, you're going to see SEC teams, SEC champions with at least one loss and possibly two moving forward. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question. Sort of ignorant dig in asking the important question makes me laugh a little bit. But Georgia has not been. Let me read the quote one more time. Uh, and this is from the Athlon preview. I tell you, somebody needs to put out a Georgia preview that's a legitimate preview because these previews are good if you want to read 2 pages about the team that you love. If you want more than that, uh, the expectations there aren't to win a one-off title and go back to 9 and 10 wins. Friend, they haven't been back to 9 and 10 wins, certainly in back-to-back seasons, since 2009 and 10, I think, right? I mean, you know, this past year, 14 wins. Season before, you can't really count it because of COVID. And then what we say, 13, 11, 13, 8, 10, 10. 13 was 8. 12 was 13 or 4, 12, whatever it was. 11 was 10. I mean, Georgia hasn't had back-to-back seasons that didn't include a 10-win year uh, in some time. It's been since Mark Richt was here that they haven't had 2 seasons in a row that involve, 11 plus wins. So I think the general sentiment is correct. It's a good question, but I will note the saltiness.